All right, so we will open the meeting of the Village of North Bennington Board of Trustees for Tuesday, January 9th, 2018. And we will start with a review and approval of the minutes of the December 12th meeting.
I've reviewed those minutes and I would move to approve them.
I second.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Were you not here?
I was not here.
Okay. Next item, review monthly warrant, approve payment of the bills. Somebody have a paper copy?
I have
of
some
that?
extra copies
Which
here.
one do you want to do?
I would like one of each, if you could.
Here, yeah.
It's the regular payroll. Then the second one is the December one that's corrected because
Right.
I had to do that. And then the third one is the January.
Okay, well, let's start with the corrected warrant from December. And that, what was the
It
correction?
had already been approved.
Right.
It's just $260 less because the farmer would
Yes, I
not
see
take payment for the check he never cashed, which I
Okay.
was trying to pay.
So you want to redo, you want to revise it? You want to do it again for this amount?
Yes. Well, this is a revised amount.
Okay,
All
so
I
do we
want
need
you
to
to
void
do
out
is,
the other one
I
or replace?
think just to replace.
I think we just call this a replacement, make a motion.
I mean,
Oh.
it seems silly for $260, but it is an official document. I'd rather have it signed.
So I'm going to move that we replace the warrant from December, which was in the amount of $135,375.25. That we replace that with a new warrant in the amount of $135,115.29.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I can have that one. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. And then the next warrant is the January 9th warrant, in the amount of $40,3091.23. Any questions about that?
$48,391.23.
Yep.
I would move to accept the January warrant for $40,391.23. Yeah.
I can second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the payroll warrants in the amount of $8,478.24.
I can make a motion to approve the payroll warrant for January 2018 for $8,478.24.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fancy. Okay. Citizen comments, we don't have any citizens here, so we'll move to treasurer's report.
Very brief.
Great.
And that is there anything that we need to, do we need to formally extend the budget meeting? Is
Yes, I
there a motion that's needed in that? And do we need to pick another day? Or is that just open-ended? I'm not sure how officially that should work.
Is it just a work meeting?
It's a work meeting.
So we don't need to warn it if it's a work meeting?
Well, you know what I would do is I would continue the meeting because then you can approve a budget, a draft budget for
Okay.
submittal to
So at the end of this meeting, we'll have a continuance, and do we have a time that works for people, and it needs to be sooner than later?
Should think about doing that in the next couple of weeks, yes.
Oh, I mean, we need,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Monday nights are best for me.
Monday nights,
When do we have to submit our,
I assume,
she just likes to get all that stuff together, the rub, I mean, really.
I need to warn this annual meeting at the end of this month. I need to know, I've got to get this all to the printers.
right?
The only thing I have just about is the cover.
Oh, you did get that,
Matthew Perry's
Excellent.
right on it.
of
I
course.
don't have
Reports
anything
are made
else.
better, yeah.
Nothing.
Well,
And
Monday the 15th works for me.
It's a holiday.
Oh,
Are you going,
Right?
are you
working that
holidaying?
day? I don't know if you're holidaying.
I'm not working.
No.
You're
It's not
working?
a,
It's not a
not a
conventional-
village holiday.
So we could do that, I can do that day, if everybody's up for it, I don't care.
just tell me the time.
Do you wanna do it during the day?
How about in the
During your
morning?
working-
Even better.
Yes.
Can you do it in the morning?
I can't, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't need to be there, I just have kids.
Yeah. I'm tied up until 11.
They can come,
Well, that's fine too,
can we get childcare?
be outside.
maybe.
Finn's old enough to stay alone.
Yeah.
But not with Charlie, with
So I don't
Glenn.
know.
Just
Yeah,
bring
with Glenn.
Charlie.
It's possible that I
Right,
should
I'll
be
bring
around or
Charlie, they can
something.
stay.
At any rate, why don't we pick some time during the day on Monday, and
Just let me
You
know.
can make
I'll
it,
see if I
maybe.
can make it.
Can we try 11:30? Does that work for everybody?
how's everybody feel about that?
Works for me.
Well, come on, what do you got?
You need to counter the offer.
Yeah. A little later?
No, it's not, it's,
If you come at noon, I'll bring banana.
You working all day that day?
no, it's a holiday.
Oh,
If you come at night, I'll bring
Federal
coffee and
Federal
donuts.
grant. You're, you're,
he should,
like
I
want to have
suspect,
dinner
I would not be
right now.
opposed to him having
Really hungry.
that holiday off.
I can do that.
The highway department, right?
Yes.
best holiday of
If
the year.
someone's
Yeah.
with Elizabeth,
Is that a motion? Seconded?
What time is your phone?
For you to have Mondays off?
No, that.
I mean, that Monday, that particular special Monday?
We just need a time, right?
I'm all for that.
what, giving him Monday off?
Yes. I mean, you're probably gonna have to work anyway, because it's gonna be snowing, you know? Seems to be the case anymore. So you're thinking you're gonna do something like you're gonna be away? It's okay to say that. You can say
I think I've got family
Obligations.
obligations that day.
Okay.
It might work, I think
Is
it's
that more?
conflicting with norms, but it might work
Yeah, I
if
don't
it was
see it.
later, like
Just a
4 or 5, but.
Wait, can you do 5?
I could do 5 on
I
Monday.
just can't do the morning, I've got too many things happening already.
I could do 5.
I can do that.
I can't, but you don't need me.
Not
And
really.
he's already
Okay, no.
submitted his, right? So you're,
I mean, I
You've
can
already
do
submitted.
all day.
oh, no, you didn't.
He still has to work on this.
But Elizabeth,
So
I
that's why I
can't.
don't
I've
like-
got,
But trust me, if we're coming in 5, you're buying dinner.
maybe I could.
We used to have dinners.
Yeah,
We did.
All right,
we did.
We'd go to Kevin's and get takeout and then just knock it out, right?
that sounds
Works for
great.
me.
Okay.
So now everybody's
So
coming,
do we
right?
need a motion, can I make a motion that we have a
No,
continuation
We're
of this?
gonna, sure.
We'll
You can do it now or later.
I'll do it later, that's fine.
5 on the 15th.
Let me
And I
just
have no
get
other
this.
report, so that's it.
Okay. Excellent. All right, now back to highway facilities.
Well, we're in the middle of our probably busiest season. We're plowing. Been considerable amount of weekend, holiday, off-duty time. We're still at it, still plugging away. I tried to get a update this morning from Jeff Slade to see where we were at with our other deal.
The backhoe, you mean?
Yeah, no, once that's made, he don't care. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. So that'll be here sometime going along, because we got a couple issues with ours and, we're basically just limping it along. We don't want to put any money into it to cut it in half.
You sold the truck?
Truck sold, went to Kansas City.
It already did?
No, it's going. The guy's he wanted to do a wire transfer for the funds and with the shipper, so I'm gonna get Mary hooked up with that guy. So she can do that.
Nice.
So that'll be going. I tell him I want it sooner than later because I'd like to get it out of our insurance policy.
Mm.
And
out of the yard.
but, right now it's, right now I think we'd be crazy to uninsure it. You know what I mean?
Right.
To take it off when we're still sitting here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're not using it anymore. We put it away. That's it. So we have that. Pretty much that's about it.
Norm, do we owe any report to the state, progress report for the grant, for that tractor, the backhoe?
No, I haven't.
There's nothing we owe them?
Oh,
Nope.
I just have a question. You took a bill off for the billing that the school's paying.
Do you have the rest of this?
We'll need a copy of that invoice.
I think I had it because it's on the warrant to be.
Okay, so you're all set.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
why I knew it was on there. I kept thinking, this looks familiar, and I remember seeing it, but I don't have a copy of it.
Do you have any part of that we signed? The highway report? Behind your computer there.
Yeah, I have it right here,
Okay.
and I know right what to do with
Well,
it.
that's excellent. Well, I would like to say that I have heard from at least 3 separate individuals in the last week how impressed they are with the highway department's work in this. And I think we've said it before and years before, but it's endless. And then with Zach having some help, I mean, you had to tap deep on the bench and keep things going, and they are the cleanest streets. I come down from the mountain every day and relieved to turn at the corner up here. So thank you. And I know it's pretty much thankless, but there are people out there expressing their gratitude.
Yeah, people ought to be sure and tell them. I mean, thanks
I know.
for plowing all day Christmas Day.
Yeah.
You guys were out there, so.
Well, it
And New
was
Year's.
the Saturday before Christmas, New Year's,
Yeah.
and if you recall, several of the things that occurred, especially the cold temperatures occur at night. And
I'm pretty fortunate. I have my little network. I have a few deputized road commissioners. There's one on Mechanic Street, a few of you might know. We have Mr. Morrissey right across the street from the train station who helps us out. So it makes it easier. Now we have our camera that I can look at, just see, if it is snowing. But it's, whether you work for this community or any others, it's a pain. And then we have our regular, some individuals that have their mailbox on a twig with 2 bungees and a piece of tape around it and expect it to stay there when we have these extremely heavy snows, and, I have to deal with that. And,
So do you fix those if you?
your
hit
banner
it?
box that I did not knock down?
Hey, I was walking my puppy and saw you hit that baby.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no.
the Bennington Manor can come
The
fix it.
snow hit the box, not us.
All right.
It's a difference.
You know what, I don't care because it's not my box.
It's an interesting distinction, isn't it? But it's true.
We go around
Box should be able to
with
withstand
every
this.
individual that calls me. I always return their phone call, and
Hey, I didn't know it was broken until they told me.
I always return their phone call, and then I go look at it, and if it seems more reasonable than not that we hit it with the truck, then we deal with it. We have one that's on Water Street that the metal pipe broke off, and the individual's standing there kind of looking at us like this. Well, the pipe's rotten. I didn't make the pipe rotten. You know, it's up to everybody to maintain their own thing. Every once in a while we get them. Most of the time it's the snow coming off the barrel plow. And again, I don't care what you're in, you know, the snow goes all to the right. And that's just the way it is. You know.
Probably get more calls that went to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd probably be buying more cars. You know, but that's pretty much it. We started patching some potholes today. We went down to our spot on Water Street that is a known bad area. And of course today there's 2 of them, you know, with this freeze thaw. I suggest to you and then everybody else, please be careful. You see a little puddle, and there could be a
Big hole.
6-8 inch hole under there, you know, to drive around and, you know, melts all day and then gets in the cracks and freezes tonight and blows out. There's nothing we can do about it. Hopefully next year, knock on wood, it'll be paid.
Well, I would encourage people that, I don't know if anyone's gonna watch or not, but, you know, obviously I think your first call is to the highway department and say, hey, there was an issue and you can take a look.
That's correct.
But if they don't like that, to not give Norm a hard time or the highway department, just come to a meeting and we'd be happy to, you know, try to address any issues. And it's, you know, it's fine. We can figure out if or, you know, how we can address the situation, but they don't need to, you know, give you a hard time about it. Just come on in to a meeting.
Good point. Yeah, so we're gonna, that, you know, the whole Water Street project is getting paved, we think, and that will be,
We got a few irons in the fire for next year. We hope to capitalize on some other small streets. You know, in some of our discussions, we need some more support from the board in our water line project where it's not really going as happy. If anybody's driven down Park Street, it's absolutely horrid. That's not our fault. The people that it is the problem don't seem to bother to correct it. And now we're into everything's froze, so, you know, so we need some more support from the village to show up to those meetings.
And I have a meeting with Steve that got pushed back just because, you know, frozen pipes and all, so. But he has gotten hold of me and just said, look, I gotta postpone, so he's in touch.
So,
it's a complicated issue because the state negotiated the stuff and who did the engineering and all that, and we were left out of pretty much all of it. We weren't given plans that said, hey, this is what this is gonna look like, and then all of a sudden there's water valves showing up in the middle of Park Street that have the potential, I think, of being damaged by graded and unpaved road. And so there's a little bit of, I guess, not seeing eye to eye between Norm and the highway department and myself and the contractors who are doing it.
Well, I think there's some things that are, you submit an engineering design and you can expect, well, we showed everybody, there were public meetings with this design and all that. I think in general terms, that's true. But I think there's smaller things that happen as a matter of course that you don't anticipate or you can't anticipate. I mean, I don't know if they put the exact, you know, specifications into their engineering design or not. I mean, on the tiny details that turn out to be a bigger issue when you actually get it out on the road. So usually you deal with those things.
Right,
But
through discussion, through these
people's
meetings
hands
that they're
seem to be-
having. But my question is whether or not there actually was any sort of public input on, I mean, really.
I don't know about a final plan. I mean, there was.
You know, they handed it, yeah. You know, it gets back to like the Water Street, like the intersection stuff. You know, how much of it do you expect because this is being done at 3 or 4 levels out of your hands, and then the water department has engineers who are employed to be the people who look at, and then the people to look at to oversee it and say this is acceptable or not acceptable. And I guess really what they're saying is, look, this is done elsewhere, this is acceptable. And I think Norm's position is, well, not so sure about that. There might be some solutions. I think that there were some creative solutions put forth about putting the valve deeper and having it with a plastic sleeve so that if it did get hit, you'd know it and it could be dealt with. We might be able to resolve one or two of them by negotiating a way to pave a short section of Park Street from the north and replacing the pavement on the south side. That's a given. But it might solve some problems on the north side to extend that pavement maybe to the Lowry property driveway, the Terrigan driveway and the Pembroke driveway, which would then, because you know how it gets super rough there, and part of it's because it's super wet there. I think you'd have to deal with the moisture drainage in order to keep any pavement on it anyway, but then when you fall off the pavement, that's where it gets really bad. But if that's happening beyond where a majority of the people from the north end are constantly turning in on their drive. And there's been some proposals and some very good discussions actually with Steve Goodrich about ways that might be able to be resolved that didn't necessarily require us to demand that the St. Gobain is responsible for those kind of add-ons or whatever, but that maybe still be equitable for the taxpayer. So
I think that was my goal in talking to Steve, is that really it's St. Gobain paying for this to repair the problem, which the end result needs to not saddle Norm or the village with problems going forward. It's granted fixing a lot of problems and it's costing a lot of money, but we want it to not create new problems that
Right.
Norm's got to go out and deal with.
and there's some other unforeseen stuff on Park Street.
And I think there's, I think it's awesome that you're gonna have this forward discussion, but you need to come and sit with me first and explain. I explain exactly what we have to do so you're educated and be able to have
Agreed.
that discussion. And there's a couple different issues. One thing we're talking about now is just riding down Park Street with knocking the fillings out of your head is the way that road was left. And that wasn't by the people in charge, that was left by the contractor, that they said it was okay. And it kept saying, you need to grade the road, you need to grade the road, you need to grade the road. Oh, we're getting on it. And they did bring in a bulldozer and it is sitting down at the lower end by Hillside Street, but they did spread a little bit of gravel in it, but it's terrible.
You got time tomorrow, early afternoon?
Not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm taking the day off.
All right, I'll give you a ring.
A Thursday, I go all day.
The contractors got a little overzealous in my mind and with the good weather and thought that they would make some big bank by getting way ahead of the project. They did. And it's great that they've gotten as far as they have for the sake of getting connections, but then everything froze in and things were not left the way, at least verbal agreements between Foreman and others have.
And we have some private roads, and I have no idea how they're left, because we don't drive down. Whether they're graded up and nice, or they're bumpy, or whatever, I don't know.
Well, they'll fix it come spring, I mean,
Yeah.
right now, it's,
Okay. Anyway, thanks, Norm, for all that. Have a good day off tomorrow. You're gonna need it because it's gonna get cold and icy on Thursday.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda, Development Review Board. I don't have any news there. Does anybody? Or Fire Department? I think it would, just to the side, if we could get, Lori, if you would notify Ed Chief Ed of the meeting on,
Monday.
usually
Yeah.
he'll come zip by, say his thing and go.
Sure.
He's pretty busy, but I think that'd be good. Water Board, I guess we kind of touched on some of that. New business? Nice. Old business?
I just have a quick thing. Just following up on the Village Privileges project, the state was unable to, the highway department was unable to support the project at the dam or to provide a letter of support, a non-committal letter of supporting the project generally. There's the opportunity to partner with someone who actually has the flowage rights through there, so I'm just asking the board, do you want me to go ahead and proceed with something that may end up being a lease or some kind of public-private partnership, but with another party? Is that a good avenue? And then have that person figure out, make some kind of proposal to the village?
I think it's great.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, this is a long, drawn-out process, so having conversations is just good.
Okay.
Is there any simultaneous progress on the water steward part of it?
That is done. I mean, the plan's done. It was approved by the village. Right now, it's
See you,
kind
Norm.
of ready. It's ready to have some source of funding, which would be the hydro. So that getting the hydro up and going and folding that into it would be the next step. So that there will be, I believe, a significant wait before we see any more. Unless somebody comes along and knows a lot about it and can add to it, which would be great. I don't have it on the radar to do a lot with it yet.
Gotcha.
It's in a workable
So there isn't, apart from the fact that it's now been put to writing and there's a plan or a preliminary plan essentially, there's no move to implement that plan unless it's hand in hand with the hydro project. It wouldn't proceed independently.
It's an interesting idea. We drafted it, or an interesting way of looking at it. We drafted it to be implemented by an actual person, and to be something that would be amended regularly as new concerns come up, and it would be part of this person's job to identify new concerns. So that we've essentially got draft one. There could be 100, but
And the revenue to support that position would come from the
Right. Yep.
production
So-
electricity.
to answer your question, you could adopt it as a general set of guidelines, but you have no enforceability, so you need to figure out how much bang for the buck you're gonna get on that one. You know, as far as if you wanted to amend it to this for now, for the next 4 or 5 years, and then into another thing.
I just think from my perspective or my angle is that I see some valuable information that was gotten from that as far as the watershed and Lake Parent, and whether it's a fund for North Bennington or for Parent Recreation, that if that report is known and, you know, volunteers or whoever are interested in, like, you know, working on the top 2, you know, most important invasive whatever or issues that are affecting Lake Parent, it might be helpful to make sure that everybody's fully aware that
Riparian
work's already
habitat
been done.
improvements or any of the things that, I mean, I think the plan should be on, it should be on the fund for North Bennington.
That was my next thing.
Through the Lake Perrin, maybe they, because I think he links, well, it isn't just Lake Perrin. I think if he's willing to put it up there as, you know, as a subcategory in the village.
He may have. It may already be there. He's got the license, part of the license applications and things like that there. He's got the feasibility study up, I think. So I'll ask him if he can put that up. And I think it was voted on and approved by the village. So
It
is our
was, and
plan.
then I think as we revised the town plan, it becomes an integral part of that,
Yeah.
along with the acknowledgement that alternative electricity generation, all that stuff is supported by it.
Okay. Yep, I'll follow up with that tomorrow.
Great.
Thank you.
What are we,
Old business.
that's what we do. Next item is an executive session if needed. I don't know if there's anything in particular.
I don't have anything.
Then I would,
Could I just
Yes.
ask one question, please? Is there anything else that you're aware of that you'd like me to add to the warning for the annual report besides asking for the library money?
Do we have to do the VAE again?
no.
No,
We did
that was on there last year, but the rest would just be the boilerplate kind of
Yep.
thing. Let me know if you think of something so that I can get this warned.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna need some documents, you're gonna need a report though, right?
I just
She would like a
emailed it.
report from all of us, if any, but different components of what people involved
Right.
with. I think a little thing on the hydro and,
Right. Usually, if everybody gives me, I can kind of mesh it together and put together a fairly decent report. But I don't have anything. And I just emailed you all a few minutes ago to ask,
Okay.
along with everyone else, the library, Park McCullough House,
right,
everybody.
tree committee, da, da,
Yeah.
da.
Does the acting zoning administrator know that he needs,
I sent it to both of them, John.
okay, so there's two, right? So I don't know, is he, what about the planning commission? Is that they would be able to produce a report independently?
Everyone has in the past. They've produced reports. It just seems unusual that I haven't received any report yet.
It's still early, come on. we never
Matthew,
get 'em
it's
till the
not. I
very
don't do
end.
things at the last minute,
I
you know?
noticed.
I do think that it's a little later than usual.
It is.
Yeah,
I think
it's, you know,
It's a
so
week
I'm,
late. so
I'm a
far.
little nervous about that. And I just sent everyone a reminder. I'm sure they'll start coming in.
There it is. yeah. Okay. Well, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'm gonna make a motion to continue the meeting.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the meeting to work, to have a work meeting regarding the upcoming budget for January 15th at 5 o'clock at this location in the depot.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Good night.